Are we ready? I know I am. So, whether or not you are, it's time for another episode of the Indie Tales Game Dev live stream. Hey, my name is Adam. You are the Pixel Pals. I've already said the name of the show, so without further ado, it's time to go. Welcome everyone to the, what day is it? It's the Monday edition of the stream. Today, we're going to be working on more Insignia dev for the first time in a little while. I have been really busy this weekend. I did some work on the that little contract job I'm doing, the archaeology one, and it's been going well. Yeah, I've been doing pretty well. We had a play test today, actually. So we had kids come in to the museum and actually play the game, and there was a lot of drama in the morning because the game just wasn't gaming. There was some bugs there that we had to get sorted. Sorry, the hair's a lot, and it's not really playing nicely at the moment, but still learning to be short. It's too long, isn't it? It's just like right over my face. But anyway, so we'll put it over this way. So yeah, like we just had some problems with the game, some bugs that were very like system build specific, and then managed to solve those by the second user test, and then I was doing some contract stuff for the Insignia team just to get them back on to the project. You know, just figuring it out as we go. So I've sort of been actually like really out of sorts today. The hair doesn't help that I'm like seeing it in the corner of my eye and it's not right, but you know, I got to get over that. So I don't know if the side bangs is right. I don't know if that's, I haven't really done that at all today, but maybe it'll play nice like this at the moment. I don't know if I like that. Maybe just if I throw it forward a little bit. That's okay. Okay. So yeah, let me do a bit of a recap. Get my face out of here. Get me out of here. That's better. All right. So a bit of a recap. Basically the game. So like last week for the archaeology game, I put in basically an extra week of work on the project because I'll be away mid-September. So I was sort of like putting a bit more extra focus on it. I got some info that we were doing a user test, like a play test today instead of Wednesday. At first it was Wednesday, now it's today. And yeah, there was like an input issue where like it looked like the game was kind of like spamming a button. And I mean, there was just no way it was going to work. And then like that was happening at 10 a.m. The playtest was happening at 10 a.m. and it was like 9 when I started. Also, like the agency that I'm working with, they don't work Fridays. So like none of this, it was sort of like just very little communication until like this morning. And then it was like a bit of a flood. But I think we got it exactly where we needed it to be. So I'm pretty happy about that. Like looking at the project now, it's like, oh wow, we've got like everything in there at the moment. I've got some extra sprite work to do on it, which I'll do later this week. Some animations, bug fixing, little bits and pieces, but like the game is like in. So today, yeah, I've sort of just been like mentally trying to stay on top of all of that, and then just mentally be like in a position to do all of this work and stay cool. I also wanted to work on Insignia. I just don't want to forget it, you know? I don't want to like have it not be in my mind. because it's been like a week since I touched Insignia. So that's what I want to put effort into. Oh, you were listening to it a second time? I don't know if it's worth hearing twice, but I appreciate it. Thank you, Justin. Cool. So, yeah, I'm feeling okay. Like, just been a bit frazzled, I guess. Like, I think it's just been hard for me to context switch so hard the last couple of days. But yeah, trying to be more patient, more understanding, accepting, move forward. So I want to say a big welcome to everybody who's here in chat today. Welcome already. Sorry for the late start. Also, a big thank you to Lindsay for the most recent follow and Crimo for the most recent subscription. I've been finding too recently, actually, Justin, that like I'm looking for more content at the moment that's not drama focused and not brain rot, and it's been really hard for me. Like, I think what I want is podcasts, but I kind of don't really want anecdotes. I sort of want more like gaming content than game dev content. I'm not sure. Maybe like just discussion about games. Yeah, like discussion about games that we're passionate about rather than people talking about their personal anecdotes in development. I feel like that for me is becoming a little bit, it's a bit fatiguing for me, actually, to hear about people saying, I did this and it worked, and I did this and it doesn't work, or do this or don't do that. I kind of don't want that, you know. I just want to do what I'm doing and be hearing sort of like about just being with people who are doing what they're doing. I don't really want to know about like their success or their failures right now. It's just there's too much mental energy. Ranton? I don't know what that is. Who's this K-pop idol? Yeah, like I was listening to Resident Arc for a while, and they're pretty good. Okay, so let me just like bring the energy way down. I'm really anxious at the moment. I'm in like minor panic attack territory, which is not a good place to be. I can like feel it. I just like feel that sort of like stage fright feeling coming on. So I think some of it has to do with the nature of this work that I'm about to go into. Let's talk about it for a bit. Samson's hair is gone. So let's talk about this work. What I've got to do at the moment is a task on Insignia that is, I guess I have a couple of things that I want to talk about. I think we should do like a stand-up for the project, just to get us started for the week. So let's just like zoom way out. Yeah, we'll just zoom right out. Oh, I also have some announcements. I got a new keyboard. Let me know if you can hear it. Can you hear it? This is the Newfie low profile 75 key keyboard that I got. This one has the brown switches, and I like it. I don't like it as much as a chiclet keyboard, but I like it enough to stick with it until I'm as good So let's talk about where Insignia chapter 1 is at. I'm gonna slow way down. Oh, the Wisteria ones are nice. I'm looking for the Mute Jades. I want to buy those and check them out. See how I feel about them. Okay. So, right now, I'm in the middle of testing out some prototype updates for a proposed system, proposed way of doing dungeons and map traversal in Insignia. This includes, and this isn't new stuff, this is just us recapping, anvils as teleporters to ensign challenges, which then become teleporters to each other, allowing for backtracking and incentivizing the player to seek these out across the world. So it's just like better for exploration, better for onboarding, since the levels are more modular, easier to produce, easier to manage. Better for pacing. All right, so that's all really good stuff. We're a little bit stuck on an issue that Adam has a lot of personal interest in, which is Armin's teleport animation and the logistics of how the lore works with the mechanics, i.e. when what enemy death versus acquiring ensigns versus reaching a crucible, sort of like this weird distinction we have right now of like lone versus unlock. There's a few things here that like just don't feel right yet for me. They're just like a little bit awkward, and I'm not really sure. Like, I guess the question is, do these need to be solved before playtesting? You know, I would say like the UX designer in Adam knows this shouldn't be the case. But the storytelling guy and the animator and the developer and the VFX artist guys are very invested in trying to validate it aesthetically. But the producer guy is having panic attacks. Trying to make the other guys when the other guys do what they want. So that's probably the biggest thing, right? That's just, sorry, my phone's doing stuff. That's where all the anxiety comes from right now. It's the fact that this whole team inside of my brain doesn't all agree on like what the right thing to do is. Let me just check. Everything's good. Okay, that's good. Cool. Okay. So this is making me anxious. So let's go, what kind of compromises can we do? That's what we need to do. We need a compromise. So, first thing is, what are everyone's needs? Really important. So, animator, visual storyteller. So the parts of me that like visual storytelling this is really about, I want to be able to say this out loud. It's really important I get to say it. I really think that the coolness factor / pacing / logistical lore stuff either works or it doesn't. And I really want to fully invest myself emotionally and get into a rhythm to solve this, to know that it's going to feel good and be a marketable aspect of the game. So like, is the teleporting thing something that's like a bunch of things that I'm waiting for to get from A to B, and then like I get there or I don't? Or is it like a really cool, like it's like this, you know, there are parts of an IP that make the IP. Like the lightsabers in Star Wars are cool and marketable. And when a character in Star Wars pulls out a lightsaber, it's like, oh shit, this is what I came for, right? It has a place in the lore, it has a place in the plot when a lightsaber is drawn, but like the lightsabers themselves have an aesthetic pull that makes them just like high value. Midichlorians are an aspect of the lore that a lot of fans find tedious. When midichlorians are mentioned, it's like, midichlorians, ugh, you know, it's like these things are just bulk. So the question is, can I make this teleporting thing and the subsequent level design changes and the things that this stuff does? The question is that stuff lightsabers or midichlorians? And knowing if I can make it feel like a lightsaber thing, a feature, and not just a thing that happens to bridge two other things, that is important to me. That's something that I think is valuable for me as a director and a producer and everything else, to know whether or not it feels like it's valuable. And the way that the people who are responsible for that in my brain, the VFX artist, the animator, the storyteller, the lore builder, even the marketing guy, they're all on the edge of their seat, wondering if I can make this thing feel really, really cool and good and like unique as a part of the game. Because they're wondering if they can hinge a lot of other stuff on top of it. Is this load bearing, or is this creating load? Sure, yeah, there's also the third thing. So that's like important, but it's very time consuming. Even as like a worker, for me to like enjoy doing this work, I kind of want to spend energy on it. I want to like take the week to prototype different animations and different timings and different lore ideas. It's not cheap to iterate on this, and I haven't signed off on that iteration. So it makes me anxious to sort of feel like I need to spend the time, but to not have signed off on that time. That's the first thing. But director and producer, Adam, we have different needs. I really don't want to be emotionally, I don't want to be, what's the word, logistically split between chapter 1 and chapter 2 any longer than I need to be, particularly because chapter 2 depends on chapter 1, right? The longer we are tinkering with chapter 1, the more that drags out chapter 2. So it's also really important that I have a consolidated build strategy by packs, GCAP, because I want to be doing second round pitching before October. Okay, 6 months from October is March, and that's when we're due to finish chapter 2. So what I'd like to be able to do is to be done with negotiations on chapters 3, 4, and 5 before we finish chapter 2. That's ideal. And I can't do that if I don't finish this thing. Or at least these two sets of the team, these two parts of the team are at odds about whether or not this is important enough to put time into. So so whatever this thing is, we also have a bit of an issue. 5 chapters, neat games. The other issue is that we have September is busy, October is busy. So there's really only like a week of a window that I have where I can be doing some of this stuff without it starting to creep into and push out other things. Maybe that's just it. Maybe it's just like, let's just do this week and get it out of there. Like, if that's where we're at, that's where we're at. So, do I need to be worried? I know that I have plenty. I know that my animation team, like Morgan, I just sent her a letter of to extend. I sent her like a schedule that's updated on the previous contract. So she can't even start for like 2 weeks. Luca could probably start whenever, but he'll be doing other stuff on chapter 2 anyway. I think I can split my time. It's just really a question of can I dedicate enough hours this week on Insignia to solve this sufficiently to move on to the other parts of chapter 1 that are affected by this change. Like there's like quest stuff and story stuff and some maybe not animations, but like definitely like the order that certain quests happen changes if this system is in. So I took this on like 2 months ago now almost, or a month and a half ago now, and I'm still not quite ready with it because of other things getting in the way to do with other parts of my life and other work. That's made me quite anxious. Now, is there anything else? I think my broader issue, my broader concern, I mean, no, it won't be overused. No, the scope of when the teleport gets used is pretty clear. It's more just the production value of the teleport moment that we're talking about here today. It's got nothing to do with like, I'm not trying to do it more just because I built it. It's more just that it has, I'm like multiple levels deep here of like this, because that, because this, because that, because it was like validate chapter 1 before submitting to Screen Oz and New South Wales. And then it was do play test, get play test feedback, reveal pacing issues. And then it's like, I can't even put this in the same thing. Then it was like solve slight rewrites. And then it was like rationalize compartmentalization as a principle going forward. Then it was like compartmentalize the ability unlock beat. And then it was that's map teleport, in-game map teleport, add some kind of onboarding for the teleport feature, or I should say fast travel. So now this is add in anvil teleporting, kind of like design into combining it with ensign unlocking. And now it's this and this are the same thing. So like all of this stems from this. It's like in order to validate chapter 1, we had to do some play testing. To do that, we needed, well, after that, we got some feedback, which revealed some pacing issues. And I solved those pacing issues with 2 ways. One is to add an in-game map to let you be more motivated by unlocking the map. And then that kind of like begot fast travel. It's like, if I can see all these places I want to go to, can I go between any major places? I'd already been sort of justifying this in my head months ago. That, and then separately, some slight rewrites and realizing that compartmentalization is really important for editing. So actually, and then this is like a separate thing here. It's like need for rewriting itself to be easier. So that, the fact that I needed there to be easy rewrites led to more compartmentalization, etc. So some of these things, like this and this, what we're seeing here is like good. This is like convergence, right? It's like, oh, this problem sparked off these three problems. And then these three problems, the solutions are sort of like boomeranging back in to one point. That's good. But now all of this pacing issues question depends on this anvil solution solving these three concerns. That's how I see it in my head. So it's really important that this thing... Now, that might be a mental fallacy I've just created, a logical fallacy, or I'm now hinging all of this on this, right? It's like I have to get the anvil thing in now so that I can solve all of this problem. But I really do want to close the mental stack here. It's like too extended out. And I actually mentally have validated all this stuff all the way down to here. So like I'm pretty confident that this solution works for everyone. It's great. It's a great solution. It's just production-wise quite tedious. And I'm starting to get anxious that my production edits are very expensive. And they take a lot of emotional energy and money and time. So I've been hesitating because it's like, is it really worth putting in this effort? Even though I've justified the effort. Like the map and the rewrites themselves already do a lot of that stuff. It's just I really was going for the slam dunk by adding in very pointed, very articulated teleport points. It's like, because there's a point in, like, if we go back to all the way back, gosh, I won't spend a lot of time on this, I promise. When we were doing the rewrites, we identified this real big point of tension right here. Yeah. It was this constant issue of like, oh man, we've got all of these ability unlocks in the one spot. And I want these to be reasons for the player to sprawl throughout the game. But it's just the player's not ready for those things pacing wise. So like, how do I have the player kind of do this thing that's just down here? Like this surprise dungeon is just too heavy. But I can't justify, like the player's done so much that this has to sort of be near the end, but I also want it to feel like the middle. So how do I do that? And all of that kind of collapses down. If you break all the pieces apart, you have all these little levels. The goal is to, if you can split them out into their own levels, peppering them throughout the experience and throughout the world is valuable if you can get across the world easily. That's the whole reason why it needs to be part of the teleporting. It's like, if I can quickly jump back to Orenstead from the first Crucible to get the second one, then it's no problem. Like, then it's not like oh man, I have to go all the way back there. It's more just like, okay, that's next. It's like getting Fly in Pokemon. It doesn't stop you from running around in Pokemon. It's just that it's really useful if you need to go to the other side of the world. But here, importantly, we're only really allowing the player to move between these set points, and only after unlocking the end signs. So we're kind of incentivizing them to do the end sign stuff so that they can unlock a new fast travel point, etc. Oh, hey, how's it going, Melon Potato? Melon Potato, like melancholy potato. All right, so that's it. I validated it. I know what I want to do. Let's now have a look at it and just see how we feel. Like, I know I'm not happy with it yet, but so I think I solved this. Right now, we need to storyboard this out. So Let's find that somewhere. Where did I put this? It's hard because like everything now relates to everything else. So it's like I could have put it in any of these documents. World layout and storytelling. Where did I put it? Scheduling system, right? Yeah, I think I put it in here. This is kind of like what I was using as the basis. And it was sort of like this thing here. Is there a method? Yeah, I mean, just by feature, mostly. Hey, Elate. Sorry if this is a dumb question, but I know that there are certainly more tech-savvy people here than myself. Does anyone know if there's a way to change the audio output of Google Chrome so that, for example, the audio from Twitch streams won't be captured by NVIDIA Shadowplay when clipping something in a game? I'm not sure. Okay, so I think it would be Shadowplay. That's the thing that you would need to send a different audio stream to. I'm not sure how that works. You should be able to Shadowplay just the game that you're recording rather than like the whole desktop. Oh, sorry, muted. Hey, Pixelmate. Favorite Pixel game? I think my favorite game is Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. So, Booyah. What color? Oh, green. Hey, Draco Vicious. What is that? Oh, it's yellow. Sorry. All right. So, I guess I'll just do it myself. It's no big deal. It's just I could have sworn that I had written something for this. I mean, I know I've written it, but I guess I didn't storyboard it. Okay. I use Unity. Hey, I'm designing a game called Insignia. It's a side-scrolling action-adventure title. Looks like this. Oh, thank you. Whoop, that's not very good. What's going on here? Whoa, what's with the slowdown? 120 FPS, no problems there. Weird. So weird. F10 doesn't work anymore? What's been I got a new keyboard. Very strange. Anyway. This is kind of what the game looks like. I added a quest icon. I added a quest icon because I've got stuff like this. So that same icon appears in both places. Anyway, I don't know why that was screwing up. New keyboard, yeah, it won't go full screen anymore. That's so weird. Oh, it was that button there that I pressed. Okay. Is that going to slow down? I don't know what's going on there. That's perfect. Stays at 120. I don't know. Let's leave it off. Okay. So, we're currently working on some design. So the first thing is Armin walks up to the anvil. We're just going to storyboard this whole thing out. It's this stuff here. That's some stuff. Specific amount. Each flies out different places around the world. One goes into the anvil. Yeah, this is what I want. Yes. So this is the thing that I'm trying to implement here, and I need to tick off certain things. So the first thing is this. Which is going to be like that, and it's going to be like that, like that, like this, like that, like this, like this, like this, like that, and like okay. First thing. And the point of this is I might need to rearrange these or re-logic them out. This is where it gets a bit tricky. Hey, Sergeant Pepper, welcome. Twitch pixel panels? Do you mean like this thing? Down the bottom? Up there? All that stuff? Those are custom, so there's nothing I could really... Like, I can't like send you a file. It's like... From my profile. I'm not sure what... Oh, you mean like the stuff from my game? No, sorry about that. I'm not really sharing them. They're specific to like my game and stuff like that. You're talking about like the about section? Those are pretty specific to like my show, my brand, my game. I'm not sure if they would work. Okay. Okay. Okay, so this is my... Hey Ninja Boys, thank you so much for the sub. There's a list of things we have to get right today. Logically, aesthetically, it has to work. So the first thing is, and I can't tell you why this happens, but the white ensign appears above the anvil. Okay, it splits into many parts. That's fine. One goes into the anvil. Okay. Armin strikes it. So there's a cut scene here. Maybe even... Maybe I don't even want the play. I don't even need... Well... Not sure. So here, scene change. This is the first one of these. So let's start now. This is now like one thing. While this is open, I want to put this inside of this. Okay, so in the overlay, first thing we do is open the overlay, and this is kind of like show some dialogue, and then show the ability. Fade to black here, fade back in. Maybe there's like a this moment here is two references. One is this one. How far are we from release? That's a naughty question. Why would you ask such a thing? You risked it and didn't pay off. mean, we're a long way from release, but we're doing a lot at the moment. We're going into chapter 2 production, and then basically the road to release is like chapter 2 production. While that's happening, get publisher funding to do chapters 3, 4, and 5, and then do each of those in a span of like 6, 5, 4 months each, and then another 3 months of post-production, and then release. So like if you do all that, adding 6 months plus 5 plus 4, 6 plus 6 plus 5 plus 4 plus another 3 or so, assuming nothing else gets in the way. Yeah. We did chapter 1 in just over 6. But then I had to do some like 6 months of mucking around since then. Mostly because I don't have the resources to split my time. That's the problem. If I had like a business partner, we probably could have folded this last 6 months in half. Okay. So I think it's like very funny. I think I want to do it this way. So almond sort of gets levitated into the air, color, surrounded by color. We could split this into its own little. Either to the side or on top. And then like ideally it would be there's something hard here that I don't really like about the way that I do this in Insignia. And I don't know what the solution is. It's really tough. So using this as an example, it's kind of like Insignia has this thing that's it's like a rule that has to be there for game design purposes, but it doesn't make a lot of sense relative to like other games. So like when you unlock an ability in Insignia, you don't like get to use the ability whenever. You unlock the ability to capture the ability from enemies. So you unlock the power to capture an ability. And that distinction is a little bit tricky because when you slam the hammer into the anvil here and teleport, I need to tell you what the ability is so that you can use it in the level. When you're in the level, you can actually capture the ability and you need to be able to use it so that you almost basically, you've got everything that you need, right? But you still have to do something significant here to like seal it in or whatever, to like passing the test. I always wanted that to involve one last like hammer strike on the sword to like encrust it into the sword. So what is it that you're getting? Is it like seal this power within the sword to use it outside the crucible? Is it the license to use it outside of the challenge level? It's like, that's the, like, what are you getting? You know, I think this is the closest thing I could explain. Like, we've given you the power on loan while you're here inside of this level so that you can learn it. If you get to the end of the level, you can then do this, what you're doing right now, outside of the level. Yeah, I guess that's the way I should present it. No, like, I don't mean like lore-wise what's happening. I mean like, what do I... I know what I want to happen. I know what's happening in the story, but how do I sell it to the player? I guess this is the closest thing. Like what you're getting is the power to use it outside the crucible. Like a driver's license. That's technically what this equates to. Because before you have a driver's license, like, you have the car's got petrol in it. The car doesn't need like anything to, it's not like you're fixing the car. It's a functioning car with petrol. You can get in, you've got the key to make the car go. You're just like not allowed to yet until you've done the test. So like, people don't get excited when they have a car, they get excited when they have the license to drive the car. Do you know what I mean? Like, these things are arbitrary, but it's important that the person playing the game understands what they're getting excited about. But the thing is, you won't know. Yeah, it's not even that. We're not even talking about like what it feels like. I'm really just talking about like, logically, do you understand what the game is giving you? Like what you actually what did you unlock? Like, because you load into the challenge level with, you can use the ability here from here. But like, so like what's changed from when you enter the level, when you have the ability, to when you exit the level? Nothing changes, but something has to happen here. So, do you know what I mean? It's just it's more of a UX question than a game design or lore or anything like that question. It's more like, literally speaking, the point where you unlock this ability is actually here. But like the point where the player feels like they've unlocked it needs to be like here, because this is like the big story moment. But like technically you can use the ability throughout here. Like you have to. It's the same thing in Zelda. Like you get the bombs before the level where you have to use the bombs. And then when you exit the level, nothing good happens other than getting a spirit orb. But someone recently said, oh, actually, it's the spirit orbs that the old man is asking for you to find. The treasures are the spirit orbs, not the Sheikah Slate powers. But to the player, from my memory, the Sheikah Slate powers are what you unlock in those shrines at the start of Breath of the Wild. It's like, that's the thing that you're trying to get. But the logical wrinkle is that you have to get them first before you finish the levels, because the levels require you to have them. So it's just awkward. That's not even, like, that's the thing. It's not up for debate how they work. It's just the only thing up for debate right now is how I psychologically frame it to the player. The game is what the game is. We're not doing game design right now. We're just doing UX, really. But I've solved it anyway. I'm just going to use this language. All right. Even the idea of calling this a challenge implies that you have to get to the end. It's not just like you unlocked an ability. It's like you were placed into a space where you have to use the ability to get out of the space. And that's what you're here to do. Yeah, it's going to seem a bit odd, but like, that's video games. Every video game has like an original mechanic is going to be odd at the beginning. Why do you have to sit at a bonfire to make why do the enemies return into the level in Dark Souls when you sit at a bonfire? You know what I mean? Like, because that's the mechanic. It doesn't make a lot of logical sense. It's just like the way the game is. It's that kind of thing. Anyway, no more arguing. Shush, shush, shush. Okay. Okay. I think, so if we look at this now and we try to solve, like, complete this in the game right now, it looks like this. same. Whoa. Hello, Unity? What the heck? I'm restarting Unity. That's bonkers. I don't know what that is. Yeah, literally no code differences, just Unity getting confused. So, right now, that's a bit all out of order because it gives us the ability when we land here. My question is, why does it do that? I think it's that I've got this thing, the crucible, already. And this is what I'm saying, like logically, like engineering wise, this forge, pardon me, has the ability inside of it. So like, that's where the flag is to make it happen. I think, anyway. Hey, Grimwood, welcome. Okay, so the teleporter is the one doing it. The teleporter does it when we're teleporting in. It's these kinds of changes. It's like, who does the thing? Does the teleporter make Armin unlock the ability? Does the teleporter require a crucible to do that? Does the crucible do it? Does the anvil before we enter? Like right now, this happening here versus happening here is like, it's like a bunch of code changes when I try to do that versus that. Not a lot, but like enough that it's, you know, I know it takes 10 minutes. It's stuff like that that makes me anxious. Because like I have to rejig a bunch of stuff just to do that. But like there's no other way to do it. Like I'm programming a video game. The logic has to go in script, and the scripts have to live somewhere. All right. So it does feel pretty coming back to where we were. It does feel kind of good to land in the level and get the ability. It just logically doesn't make any sense, because like what happened when you did this? Like, oh man, in my mind, what's going to happen is these are all the abilities, right? There's all the abilities. 3 of them remain after everything disappears. One goes one way, one goes the other. The third one goes down into this. Slamming the anvil on this does something. It awakens the crucible where we teleport to, and Armin sort of gets levitated by the anvil, and then we unlock the ability, and it's like now entering this or whatever, right? So that happens. I think before we teleport away, we probably should have some sort of this thing should happen, but it won't say ensign learned. It will say discovered or something like that. Like anvil discovered or something like that. Basically just, we need to make the framework that we're introducing the player to more, that framework needs to have more clarity about it. Alrighty. So, ability unlock modal, ability modal. So there's this thing that says that's not what we're doing. Where does this live then? Okay, mastery menu. Wait, the rail has the modal. Oh, that's for showing you an ability you've already got. Oh, I think the modal for the unlock event happens on the crucible. Well, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm talking about. Like, this thing doesn't exist outside of the crucibles. So most of what's here is fine. It's just like, it's not in the right, it doesn't appear in the right spot in the game anymore, and it doesn't say the right stuff or present the right information. I also think that this whole thing here should just go away and be replaced by ability modal, by this version. Which is just its own module. The only difference between these two is that the text is not designed to you're not supposed to, the text isn't designed to pause the gameplay with these things, because this is supposed to be inside of a menu. So it's not a big deal. I just need this to be modular. I want to be able to show this anywhere. All right, man, it's just hot in here today. I'm starting to overheat, and I'm like, mental brain power is lacking because I'm too hot. Oh. Alrighty. So, get this out of my eyes. So, ability modal. Let's see if we can just like show one of these. Is there like a nice way to do this? Oh. I go M, not M, enter, and signs. Can't open that yet. What if we go somewhere where we get combat unlocked? Yep. So here, ding, ding. And then we go to here. Does this type? No, it's just written. Do I have a distribution plan? Yeah, I mean, I know generally where I want to release the game. I don't have like, I mean, it would be nice to go simultaneous release. That would be my preference. So this has a dialogue engine that's going to be omitted from the context system. And I'm imagining that the menu itself speaks to the dialogue engine. And it just plays some text. Okay. So we could have that be revealed in the ability modal. Point is, I really want to see this. I want one of these things. I don't know. I don't know what I want to do. I mean, do you just copy paste it? What does this have on it that it needs? Mastery node modal. Okay. Open, close. Preview.play. Preview is the player. Sure. Padding, snap distance, open, transform.position, plus offset. Offset is the padding with da 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 da. It's not really anything. It's just a really simple thing. It just has a node that you set to it. But get snap distance is the only thing here. Okay. So we could use this if instead of mastery node N, we just had the ability. But the padding here is the only thing that we need. This is some offset, which we could apply just here. I mean, it's pretty close. It's pretty close already. Let's see if we can do it. Hey, Kaiba. Okay. So technically now we don't need to worry about the mastery node. I'm surprised this doesn't have any kind of like animation in it. Because in the game it goes, it like shifts in, and I don't know what it does to do that. Like, I'm not sure what it's doing. Okay, well, I'm not really here to complain about it, so as long as this is still all hooked up correctly. Small refactor. Still works as far as I'm concerned. So that's good. And now we will commit that. Okay. So now back to, I guess we don't even need to do the other stuff. I guess we just figure out what we want to do here with the teleporter thing. So again, pretty annoying, but hopefully our scheduling system can help us bring all of this together. So what I'm trying to build here is some sort of like modular system that lets me describe a bunch of like stuff that can happen and then just like place the stuff on something, you know? Like, okay, here's like like when I say stuff, I really mean this stuff. Any of these squares needs to be just a thing that can happen. And rather than affect how a bunch of code works and all the dependencies, the idea is just you just take one of these things and you say, okay, I want this thing to go inside of this thing. And it's just like a, not drag and drop, but just like point to that. And it'll just, the dependencies will be easier to navigate around because things just work. That's the idea. So like right now, what we're about to describe is this thing here, right? Like almond gets lifted into the air. Right now, that's its own thing that doesn't live in this system. It doesn't, that's like a behavior state on almond. So, but that state, the state is tied to one of these things. So it's called by a schedulable, we'll call it that. So if we go back to like this scene here, yeah, this, where is it? Is it on almond? I don't know where I put the teleport. It's on the anvil. The anvil has a teleporter. The teleporter has this schedule state behavior. And that knows how to interact with the schedule system. So what other things do we want to schedule? We want to be able to schedule the ensign ability unlock. That's the thing that needs to be schedulable. So maybe I'll just build that from scratch. It's so close to, it is the modal, but maybe we just build a new one. What do we got here? We got this thing here. There was something about this I just didn't like, and I'm not sure what it was. It was just a really heavy, like ability unlocked sequence timeline. What's on the timeline? Oh, it makes almond do stuff? Who owns that? Oh, I see. Yeah. This is like me running into the, this is me 6 months ago running into the fact that I didn't have the system I just built. So it's a bunch of function calls on a timeline. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world. It's just like not how I would do it today. So what's the wheat and what's the chaff here? What's the stuff that we care about that we want to keep? With this modal, with the canvas group, with the sequence player, that's one thing. Then we've got the modal. The modal's got a bunch of stuff on it. There's a cutscene camera, and there's a bunch of animations that Armin can do, and it's a whole lot of stuff here, isn't it? But I don't even need this stuff anymore, most of it. So I guess we just don't keep this. This is the part I hate. This is the part I hate. I hate this part of game dev. For this game, it's too complicated. Should be somebody else's job to do this part. All right. Ability modal. Does this even work? It doesn't do anything, the canvas scaler. You can't, oh, it's, well, like it doesn't change anything. Alrighty. So I can just press play. This will throw an error. Oh, or it won't. Oh, well, at least it works. Ability unlock schedule. Oh my gosh. This feels like too much procedure. It's like, I don't even know what I want yet. I haven't even designed the thing yet. But I know I want it to be cool. I've kind of designed it. Oof. I think I can do this. Ability unlock schedule. What's this? What's the shortest way? I guess it would be to create an animation. I think my aversion to the Unity animator is really hurting me here right now. I think it feels that way. I'm trying to turn everything to a class, but like some of these things, anything like UI related, where like a bunch of stuff's gonna like animate on screen. Well, the first question is, are the things that I want to do with the animator worth doing at all? I don't know. Maybe for like a AAA game. Maybe not for my game. In which case, like, maybe it's best to just get the thing in there. All right, let's do it. Public ability scriptable ability. U is a fine letter. Okay, sure. That's what I want. Maybe I do want it. Oh no. I don't have my button. I have a keyboard shortcut set up and I have a new keyboard that doesn't have the keyboard on it. The key. I don't have a numpad minus key anymore. Keyboard shortcuts. It's not even... Bro. I can't even select it. It's not here anymore. This is now home. All right. So our ability unlock schedule is going to have this ability modal. This doesn't matter what the canvas group is. This is going to be arise. Press U. How does it know how to do that? How does it know how to shift off to the right like that? That's so cool, but I don't remember what I did to make it do that. Modal fader. Oh, it's got an... I put an offset on the fader. That's pretty sick. Let's make it now different. I feel like this one could be offset -10 on the y-axis. Yeah. Ding, 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 ding. Little things like that make a big difference. Well, I'm glad that that works. But that's the power of having things in different scripts, because I didn't even need to think about that and it still worked correctly. That's good. That's what I should be doing. So, this is the arise ability. Yeah. And then this does have a canvas group. Package by feature or package by layer? What does layer mean in this context? I will put things in folders according to the package that they like. By feature, let's call it that. I don't know what you mean by layer. Kiora game? Nope, no idea what it is. Looks like Terraria. Presentation, infrastructure, service. I don't really organize my code. I mean, organize is a broad word. Do you mean like break things down into classes? Because I'm a game dev, those layers that you're describing are, well, because I'm making an action game, I don't really have the same sort of software development engineering approach. Things don't get broken up into those kinds of layers as neatly. So for me, it's like, an example would be anything that's like a tool that's an editor, I'll have in its own thing as if it's a package. I treat things like they're all packages. So it's like, okay, this thing is called scene graph. That's going to be in its own folder, in its own, you know, it's going to have classes for each of the components. This is a class, that's a class. This thing here is a class, everything's a class. And they are arranged and organized by their function, single responsibility principle, you know, keep it separated. And then like for the character, it's like generally, you know, I've got like an animator. A lot of people starting out sort their objects by assets, scripts, materials. I mean, most of Insignia was set up that way at the start. It was like, okay, here's the scripts folder, here's the assets folder, here's the materials folder. But I think you should not put all of your scripts together and all of your assets together and all of your materials together. I think you should pick a thing and give it, well, this is now just like it's like, which do you want for there to be lots of folders called of the same name? How separable are these things? Like for me, I've got like a big sprites folder, but that's because a lot of the things in the game are just sprites. Like a lot of this stuff, they're like background assets. So I'll go to like sprites background, and that's got folders for the different places in the game where you might find those sprites. But something like the scheduling system, it's a system. And the system has a folder structure as if it was a package, as if it's something that I'm going to let someone else download and use as their own, you know, or like put in like a Git repo and distribute it separately. So anything that's a system, I think of as like a package, and maybe certain parts of the game, like there might be a visual effect that requires a particle system with some materials and different textures, like an effect that requires a particle system and a line renderer and a special shader and a special render texture. All of that will go in the same space because they only relate to each other. They don't relate to other things in the game. I think that's how you do it. I don't know. So this thing here, this ability unlock schedule, I mean, technically you would have this as a singleton. I would, or at least under the global one. And I'd be able to reference it statically. That's what I want. So the idea is we want to say, what do I want to do? Almond gets levitated into the air. And then what? I've got it drawn. How does this thing want to happen? It feels like I want to keep him on screen until he gets warped out of the level. This is like, it's a bit like Aladdin going into the Cave of Wonders. You know, I kind of want it to feel a bit like something is taking you somewhere. Maybe there should just be text that says something like, and then as soon as I have text, now I have to have a cutscene. Unless I... Oh man, that's... Man! Oh, I hate this. I'm so paralyzed. Alright, new stream of work just got created. It's not created, it was always there, but like, I haven't done it yet. Oh god. I think it's a good philosophy to have, that nerd guy. I think so. Not everyone does. I know a very successful game dev who doesn't do that at all. He just makes stuff from scratch every time. But I try to use modules if I can. Depends on how consistent you want your games to be. How similar you want them to be. Because once you have modules, you start relying on them to be the same, you know? It's less, you're going to innovate less if you reuse a bunch of stuff every time. Or at least there's just pressure. There's pressure to innovate less because it's like, well, I've already got, you're starting to make assumptions, you know, about like what you need and how it should work. And if you're already really close, it's like why Unreal games look all the same. Because it's like, well, you've got this really cool visual pipeline, so like might as well use it. You're not going to rewrite one from scratch, but if you did rewrite one from scratch every time, you'd have more unique looking games. All right, so the thing that I just got upset about is this idea of text that is serializable in a scriptable object that does not live in an event sequence. I have lots of text in my game that's currently like essentially hard-coded. There's no like any menus, all the text in the menus is essentially hard-coded. And if I want something to just say something briefly and I don't want to dedicate an entire thing to it, I can't play text if it's not in a version of the game's like conversation format. So at some point, I'm going to need some way of being able to just say some text and not worry too much about what it looks like. But yeah, but I don't have characters in my game. I have sequences. So what I would need to do was build it would need to be basically a sequence with a single line of, what the heck? A sequence with a single line of dialogue. I don't have dialogue outside of sequences. So like, the only way I have characters is as a subset of a sequence. So sequence has, oh my gosh. Sequence has I call them story step. A story step has a character and then a line of dialogue. But I could just, a sequence has a list of story step. But I could just have a story step on its own. I just don't have anything that can play those. But I could have written something that could play them. This is what I really want. Just like a line of dialogue that plays here. And it's not part of like a cutscene per se, it's just like a line of dialogue. The problem is if I start writing single lines of dialogue like this, and then I decide I want there to be 2 lines of dialogue, now it's a sequence, you know? It's like immediately it gets destroyed. So the problem is that these have GUIDs. These are GUIDs, they are scriptable objects, which makes them reference types. They're really solid for things like localization. This, you know, if I want it to be really light, where does it live? If it's a scriptable object with the GUID and it only references like one single thing a character says, that sucks. Because if I then wanted to make it 2, now I have like a second one of these, and I go, oh no, now I have 2 of these. Now I need it to be one of these. Delete, delete, remerge up. So yeah, I guess I do just this. It just seems really unwieldy to do it that way. Because this kind of implies that there's a player. And the playback is such an investment to do playback of dialogue in the game. Because this typically, once you have one of these, you also have a timeline director. You also have a sequence player. You also have an NPC that drives the sequence player. It's like a lot of this that's just like, ugh, I don't need all that. I just want one line of text. So maybe down the road there's a way we can play these without even expecting any of these. I mean, I could just take the scriptable object and dig inside of it and grab the text. It's not a big deal. It's just that like, I don't have a system for that. And so I'd be doing it in a way that would be like unique to this exact one thing. So is there a way to break it down? Probably not. And in this scheme of like what we were doing before, like hey Sadillac, welcome. Like this thing usually lives at the bottom and stuff gets put on top of that. All the lines of dialogue, animations, right? This is like usually the core of a sequence of playable things. But if I just want text and I'm already going to build all of this as the baseline, and to think of all of this as just a little blip that is a child of some other thing, I guess I just need to think more flexibly if I want to do that. None of this has performance considerations, by the way. It's like none of this is performance related. It's really just my brain being like, I made a whole UI for this thing and now it's just a little tiny wrapper for this other thing. All right. So it's this thing that I'm struggling with as a director. I don't know how to do this yet, but it's that I've got such clear distinctions in my brain for how the game is shaped. Like some things are an animation. Some animations are animations that live under a behavior. Like when Armin, in this moment here, right? Let's think about it. This is what's slowing down the game right now. This is it, okay? Let me see if I can get this. Like the whole game right now depends on me being able to solve this problem faster. And the problem is this beat right here, Armin levitating into the air. The question is, what is that? Like, yeah, I draw a sprite. Yeah, the sprite goes into a sprite sheet. Yeah, that sprite sheet is played on Armin's character. But is that sprite sheet played on Armin's character a behavior that Armin has? Is it a state that he can go into, levitation? Or is it just an animation that's playing on a timeline? Or is it a schedulable moment that has its own thing? You know, like, is it part of this? I mean, I guess the right way to do this would be to start from the bottom up and say, well, it's an animation that's going to play somewhere. And in fact, it doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter where it gets played beyond that point. Yeah, but Elzak, the point is, I don't know if I'm going to have a timeline yet. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't know if any of this has a timeline. It's like I'm building a house, right? And I'm thinking about a room, but I don't know if that room is on the second story of a house or is on a granny flat on its own. You know what I mean? It's like, do you guys have granny flats? Anyway, that's an Australian thing maybe. It's like, no, you guys can't. I don't think you can help me here. I don't think you can help me. No, Elzak. Ah, I'm trying to explain. Like, you all know Insignia can play timelines, but it's like this, right? This is an animation. Let's just do a little symbol here. Okay, this is an animation. Animations can go into you can have a state, right, that plays the animation. That is a thing I can do. I can have a timeline that plays the animation. That's a thing you can do. I can have a script that calls the animation. Okay. But the question is, should I be building a timeline just to play one animation? That's what I'm trying to say. Like, these things that we're drawing, these little clips, hierarchically, they sit on top of these things. And the question is it worth us to build, when we're working in the content, not as an engineer, when we're working as content developers and we're piecing things together to make the story of the game, I'm running up in this situation here where I'm trying to build out a sequence of things that are going to happen. And I've got a note, right? As the director, it's like, oh yeah, Armin levitates into the air. No point, nothing about any of this needs a timeline up until now. Do I create a timeline just to put one animation for it, just for this little beat? Same thing with like the dialogue. It's like a line of dialogue happens. Does this line of dialogue have to be in a whole ass sequence? Wouldn't you want to stick to one tool instead of context switching all the time? The problem is that timelines are not nestable. So that when I commit to making a timeline, I'm committing to like a bunch of overhead. Like, sure they are? Are they? You could put a timeline in a timeline? But I don't have a game. My systems aren't set up to do that. Like, how can you have sub-timelines? Like a playable director with another playable director inside of it. You talking about animations or timelines? A timeline can have animations, and they can have I don't even know about this stuff. But even then, it's not. This isn't really solving my problem to say that you can have sub-timelines. That doesn't help me. Because it's too much overhead for what I'm trying to do. It forces me into a That's right, Saravati. That's what I'm trying to do. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying like, when doing this stuff, right, I've got a bunch of things I want to happen in about a 10-second span. Which of these things deserve to be files that contain authored content? And which of these things are the authored content that goes into a file? That's what I'm trying to say. How many files does this represent? How many assets do I have to create? This looks like this is sitting in front of my hair right now. Yeah, like how many like assets need to exist to do what I'm doing right now? And what I really want to do is not think about assets at all until the very last thing. Like the last thing I want to do is commit these things to assets. I should be able to flexibly think about them as like things that happen in the story. And then right at the end go, okay, now let's build it. This goes here, this goes here. But the other thing is like, it's not just building it. It's that I want to be able to rearrange it. I want the things that there are, like this animation, yeah? I want to be able to say, oh, actually, no, this needs to go on this other thing. This needs to happen. Like this animation, Armin levitating into the air. What if I don't want it in the timeline part? What if I want it just before the timeline part? What if I want it to happen in gameplay? You know? It's like, I want for each of the modules to not be dependent on the container. Ideally, that's what I would want. I'd want to not have to think about the containers at all. But the containers are they're they're quite committal. You know, a container, it's got a name. It's like a scriptable object. It's got an, you know, it lives in the hierarchy somewhere. It's like you start creating a lot of bulk in the project by when you name things and give them files. And what I want to do is think in storyboards. I want to be like, yeah, this happens, blah, blah, blah. We'll figure it out later. Yeah, this isn't like, I feel like, Elzak, I feel like what you're saying is like, it's too, we're talking that's like in principle, yes. That's how it works right now. I have like a folder of all the time. I have a folder with chapters. I have inside of each chapter, the different timelines for each of the cutscenes next to the sequences that those timelines represent. I've got timelines that are for UI moments. So there's like where I just came from was this. And it wasn't good. That's not visible. It's not malleable enough to do it that way. Because you make an assumption when you do that, whenever you build a timeline, that thing, the borders, the edges of the thing, this is the point, right? It's really about this. This is like deep into the UX of using a game engine. In order to make a file or a class, right, in programming, you need to be able to draw a circle around what it is and what it isn't. And all of the things that go into it need to not be able to go out of it. Right? Like, that's important. But if I'm saying like, what I have is a bunch of things and I don't know yet where the circles go around them. I don't know if this thing is on its own and then these things are separate, or if these are three separate things. Because they're just, as a writer, they're just story beats. So I've got all these different story beats, and it might make sense that, oh, this is a menu, or this is a cutscene, or this is a behavior that the player can do. Or no, maybe this is the behavior can do. This is the behavior the player can do. You know, it's like these things, we're sort of mixing all of the different assets the game can have. And sure, if we know exactly what we want, then you can easily draw a line between them and say, no, this is the ability unlock menu because it's UI. But like my UI, I'm trying to have a UI that has the player inside of it. Or like I'm trying to do VFX that affect the same player controller that you were running around with. Some of that, or maybe like, I'm not sure yet what order these things happen. Maybe this needs to happen before. So now it makes sense to group these things as one asset. And this is actually a thing that the player can do. Like, I don't know what my requirements are, so I can't draw the circles around things and say, oh, this is the right approach. I cut it. Oopsis. That's my struggle right now. Like, oh, I want some dialogue here. Okay, but maybe the dialogue happens here. But maybe the dialogue happens like actually all the way back here. And there's a cutscene here, so the dialogue, putting it in the cutscene is easy, trivial, right? Because it's already in a cutscene. But if I want it to happen during we're looking at a menu, okay, well now it's not in a cutscene, now we're in a menu. So do I make a new cutscene, a new timeline, just for this little moment here, so that I can do this? Okay, well, what if this whole thing was one cutscene, and the cutscene opens the menu? It's that's what we're talking about. But a timeline expects linear. No, Chosenja. This is like a philosophy thing. This is like, what do I tell that content developer, the person that I'm delegating this task to, what's their approach that I tell them that we at the Up on Hill Studio use to build content this way? Like, it'll be Luca, let's just say. I'm going to say to Luca, hey, Luca, here's a bunch of things that we need to put in the game that happen in this little sequence. Do it the way that we do it. Okay, what's the way that we do it? When does a line of dialogue become a sequence? When does a sequence become a timeline? When does an animation become a behavior state? This is what makes me anxious, because I can do any way you want me to, but all of those ways create a promise that that I don't want it to be some other way. If everything is timelines, then I need a more lightweight way to do them. If I want to think of timelines the way I think of like right now, retro box sheets. Retro box sheets are amazing. I just put them wherever I want them to go. They're self-contained. If you put a sheet on a animation player, on a retro box player, it plays the sheet. It's perfect. I never have to think about the definition of the container when I'm thinking about the sheet, because the sheet just has one thing that it does and one thing that it is, and it's no problem. So what I would hope to be able to do is define like dialogue. I would expect to define dialogue this way, right? But the problem is that it feels bad. Like an animation can only be one thing. I never have to worry about whether an animation is actually two animations. When I look at this, I don't think, oh, should this actually be 1, 2, 3 different things? Yeah, with playable directors, it's like, where does this live in this scene? Where do the bindings go? Where do I look for those things? Some of these, what if the bindings are like statically accessible things that are part of like the singleton? How do I access those? Like, there's sort of like a series of things. I mean, unless I'm overcomplicating it. But the most important thing about this is that what's really important is it's not just that like you have a timeline, full stop. It's that you have a system that knows how to sequence that timeline with everything else. That's the whole point of that scheduling thing that I built. Like maybe there's a way I can define a timeline that doesn't have a sequence player attached to it. But you still need a playable director. Unless I define my own playable director that understands how to read timelines without the playable director, or like one playable director that, no, you need the bindings. That's the thing. Hey, that nerdy guy. I think this is too complicated for chat to understand. Not any individual person, but I would literally need to sit down with you and explain how in an 8-year-old project, these kinds of things have stacked up and what my options are. Because if we're talking just in principle, it's too explaining what I've built and how it works. The time it takes for me to do that makes you guys collectively forget what the context is that I'm trying to solve right now. And so we end up just saying things like, couldn't you just have, and then like you define like what a timeline is in the first place, or like what one of my existing features is. But it's like this problem here, right? In your computer, you have like text files. But like, not everything is a text file. Some things are like Word documents, and some things are like Figma documents, and some things are TXT files, and some things are like rich text format, RTF files. And like, all of those things are all text, but they're in different containers. And if you wanted to manage something that where you had a bunch of these files that needed to be relating to each other somehow, it would get annoying to handle them in all these different containers. Like, it's like doing project management, and like someone's doing Jira and someone's using Notion. And it's like your Jira tasks and your Notion cards are like, they're relating to the same project, but like one's Jira, one's Notion, so you can't like look at them at the same time. That's kind of what this problem is. But the real thing is that like, when does a handwritten Post-it note become a Jira task? When does a Jira task become a story? When does it, like the determining how big something should be is the challenge. And because we're making a game and things require us to be able to prototype them, I don't know how big the thing is going to be before I start it. So when I say dialogue happens, that dialogue, I don't know how many lines of dialogue I need. I don't know. I mean, obviously it needs, if there's going to be any dialogue, it needs to be referenced somewhere that's localizable. But like, I'm not going to create a whole timeline asset just to create a sequence player and an event sequence, just to put one line of dialogue on. But if I look at the rest of the things around it and say, oh, these are all also things that would be sequenceable. Okay, fine, let's make a timeline for all of it. But I wouldn't make a timeline for one of the things. So it's sort of like knowing that this thing is going to be this big before I start is tough. And I guess if we zoom all the way back out, the reason why this is hard is that you can either look at it as a bunch of modules you're trying to piece together organically, which I would love to do that, or you could think of it as you could define the structure that cannot change, and then everything is just done within that framework. So Elzac is advocating for make everything a timeline. Now, I don't like that because I've already I created the schedule system specifically because timelines aren't good for everything. Like, for me, doing this thing here, where I did this little moment here, if I did that in a timeline, it would be really, really unwieldy, I think. It wasn't natural. Well, it's not. Man, it's so complicated. There are pros and cons either way, but doing this in a timeline, I think, I mean, the problem is that there's two spaces. This is the problem. There's the C# world where you've got objects, you got references, you got functions, right? And then there's the asset world. Where you've got files, you got data. And that thing I just showed you with the map, that thing is very data. It's very the sequence is data, right? The sequence is an asset, like do 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4. That feels like something we can put in a timeline or something, right? These are clips on a timeline track, right? Okay, sure, that's great. But the things are really just functions. So to put the functions on a timeline track, now it means that you need to somehow link up the references and the functions into these. And the way you do that would be like, it's not nice, because timelines aren't really used to, like, they're not really designed to have anything being a clip. Like, I have a kind of clip in my timeline editor, a custom clip track that's called event, and it just calls a function using reflection on a class. But like, it's not a function. It's not just a function that I'm trying to call. It's like a state. And I even have the state that these schedulables that I've created, I even have those as clip tracks. But even then, it's like, these things are they're not sequenced in terms of like time. I don't care about how long it is between A and B. It's really just an array of states is what I really care about for most of this stuff. What? How do I reset that? What was I? Okay. Like, if I can define a state and then I can say, hey, state, we've got 3 other things that need to happen after you, pass them somewhere. Hey, Bilal, thank you so much. What's my hair care routine? Nothing. I don't have one. I wash it with shampoo and conditioner once every day, every couple of days. This is much, much lighter. If I can do this inside of a script, inside of the script space, it's way, 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 way better than me creating an asset that just calls these. I mean, I built a custom scheduler. That's what we built 2 weeks ago. Because like, these are already scripts, right? That's what they are. So the idea of like making an asset that needs to be like, that needs to like be doubly linked back to the script world, just for the sake of saying which things happen first, second, and third, that's not worth it, in my opinion. If all I really need to do is make an array of things that happens. Like, why enter the asset realm if you can just stay inside of script land, and all of the things that need to be sequenced are just functions or like state things. You know, I feel this way about like when people talk about using scriptable objects for behavior states on a character, like making a scriptable object for jump and a scriptable object for like an attack. It's like, if your jump is just a bunch of functions, why are you putting that on a scriptable object? Like, why does it have to enter the data realm when it's just logic? I mean, like, what's the word? like principally, yes, my goal is to make it as easy for other people to use as possible. But it's like saying, hey, let's all learn Esperanto. It's like, well, none of us speak Esperanto. And maybe like there's not a very good way of like explaining, like even if in principle one unifying language is like right, it's like, well, I don't know if we're going to get what we want out of doing it this way. It's hard. And we're speaking very abstractly at the moment. It's not very easy to explain. I guess I'm just struggling because I agree with you. I do. I agree that like too many ways of doing things in the game makes the game complicated to manage because you have to check all the different ways that you did something. And I'm not a madman. I'm not going to put myself through that. So I think just what I'm getting really stuck on is that there seems to be a really concrete split between things that feel like this and things that feel like this. They're so different. They're so different to me. And I don't know how to resolve that. And I don't know if like maybe if I was using some custom engine, if I was like in-house at Nintendo, maybe this and this aren't different things. Maybe they're just one thing. But because I'm Adam and I built a thing in Unity and I've been making systems in Unity for 8 years, I've created that split, or maybe Unity just creates that split by having scenes, you know, serializable scenes versus just like everything being in the scripting environment. I have a feeling this is something that like just isn't a thing in homebrew engines, like in-house engines. Like either everything is just blueprints and so all the scripts are scenes, or like everything is a thing. Like it's possible that just like Unity as a thing is slowing me down here. Just its way of defining what the game is. Yeah. So I'm just saying like yeah, I'm sort of done explaining here a little bit. I have to just think about it myself. I'm sort of in agreement with you, Elzak, about like just make everything a timeline. Like if I was trying to show this stuff to Luca, it would be like, okay, and then there's a timeline clip that says open the timeline, open the menu or something like that. Like this thing. But it's still wrong. It's really hard for me to navigate this. So like this thing here, right? This is my thing. Some things have a duration because they are just a bunch of linearly sequenced stuff, and each of those things have a duration. Like a timeline is a bunch of clips back to back. Some things are just black holes for player interaction. Like this menu, if this was inside of a cutscene, there would be a point where the cutscene would have to pause, and then like all of the map stuff would happen. right? Like I was showing you before. Like you do thing A, thing B, thing C, and then this happens. And this is like a black hole. Let's say like the player had to press continue to make this thing go away, to come back to this point here. If I'm using timelines, it's hard to author all of that stuff in a timeline. At some point, you want to be able to just say, hey, like, yes, let's just say we're on a timeline, right? At this point, let's say here, there's going to be a thing that happens. Like, because what I want to do is load balancing. This is, for me, the big thing. Okay, you've got like a bunch of things. We just did it. We literally just did it. We just made a bunch of boxes. Okay, check it out. There's like 30 boxes here. At some point, the right thing to do to organize these boxes, just like folders in a project or something like that, the right thing to do is to say, okay, let's draw a box around the things that are separate, right? And say, okay, these are one thing, and these are another thing, and these are another thing. And in the parent timeline, we would have one timeline. I think this would be the right way to do it. One timeline with 3 clips on it. And the 3 clips they manage these things. Like when you're using like After Effects, you have comps, right? Those are your first class citizen. And then you have like comps in comps. So if you have like a button that has like a push button thing, you would put the comps in like this. You'd say, okay, this is like a pre-comped thing, or After Effects, not After Effects, Adobe Flash. In Flash, you would make like a button, and the button would have a timeline, and then you would just place the button as a clip. This might be 3 separate clips, but you would place the button as a clip that just inside of a thing. And all the layers and whatever get compressed as like just one thing on one layer. Now, I'm happy to do this as timelines. I'm already doing this. If you guys have been watching me, this is how I make things. But the thing is that some of these things are like things that I wouldn't put on a timeline. They're just not the kind of thing that would go on there. And sometimes it's like, I'm working on this stuff and I'm like, oh, actually, this is gameplay. And I should end the timeline here, have this be 2 separate timelines. And actually all this stuff is like something that the player does in a menu, or something that the player achieves by running around in the game. This, right now, to think of the whole game this way, as just like, oh, it's a bunch of timelines, it makes that a little bit catastrophic to do that. Not only that, but like I said, like, you know, it's like, how do I put this? What would make it easier? Splitting or keeping? My point is that the process of splitting and keeping is I'm getting lost in in trying to communicate here. But the architecture of how to do, when we say timelines, the problem is that like you can't just take a clip. A clip is not an asset. That's my point. A clip on its own, you can kind of copy and paste them, but like you can't really. The bindings, all of the way that they're set up, it's not as easy as just saying, oh, I'll just do this part later, or actually I'll just put this inside of this. Like doing that level of reshaping, I don't know how to build things in such a way that is doable. With timelines, like nested timelines that are all self-bound, I guess. I don't know. This feels like going into territory I don't want to go to. It's just not, it's just, I'm trying to like articulate why it doesn't work. And I know that it doesn't. And I can't seem to like convince, I can't seem to communicate enough about to me why I know it doesn't work. Like I know it doesn't work for me. It is useful. I guess, what can I do? How do I explain this? It's so annoying. I think I need some time. I think I'll come back. We'll come back tomorrow or something, and we'll put a different sort of. We'll think about it differently. I think I've put myself in a position where the conversation is too abstract to be productive. Like I would need to go through the thought experiment of crumbling all of my concretions about how to use Unity, which is not where I think the project wants to be right now, because we've gotten so close without doing things differently. And like using the engine one way versus like a totally different way. To me, it feels totally different. And what I'm oh man, it's so hard to talk about it. All right, I'm gonna stop looking at chat for a second, just talk out loud for a bit about what my brain's thinking. I want to stay on the topic. I don't want to talk to you, I want to talk at you. All right. So here's what I'm trying to say. At the lowest level of the game, there are function calls. There are things, there are functions, there are states, basically. There are animations. These are like things that cannot be, they're indivisible. They're atomic, okay? At the very, very bottom, that's what things are. An animation, a state, a function. I mean, functions are divisible into smaller functions, but like as an asset, a thing that you would put inside of a clip timeline track, a clip. It's like those are things you would make as clips. They're not things you would make as timelines, right? You wouldn't make an animation a timeline. It would be a clip on a timeline. And it makes sense to do it that way. What I care about, what works for me, what will work, a better way to put it would be, one thing that you definitely can do without fail, if you're trying to tackle this problem, is start with all of the things that can be clips, all of the things that can be atomic modules, and make them accessible by some container. So like my sprite sheets in my game are all retro.sheet. There are containers that can handle a retro sheet as a timeline clip. There is the sheet itself can be natively played by a retrobox animator. So it's one format that can go into a bunch of different contexts. So when I define the animation, it doesn't break. It doesn't have to get warped to fit into the shape of the container it's going into. That's really important. At the very top layer, everything is just modular containers, right? And containers should be plastic to their contents. So like you should be able to say like, okay, here's a box. And the box has two other boxes in it. And these two boxes are this, and then this is that, and then this goes inside of that or whatever. Better way to do this. Sorry, I screwed up. Right, you could do that and it's no problem. And you could do this and do that. This and that. What the heck is happening? Right, and that's no problem. Right, and you could say, oh, what if actually I want for this to be like this? Oh, actually, what if I want to put this inside of this? It doesn't matter, it's fine, right? It all just collapses like this. But the problem is that timeline doesn't really work that way. Timeline says, okay, I have some clips, right? And they're this long. If I change what's in this clip, let's say this clip has another clip inside of it, like that, and there are two of those, and this clip should be as big as its children. Timeline won't extend or contract the list of stuff to cater to the fact that you've just changed the length of a clip. Like if I remove this and put it in here, that won't happen in timeline. I will have to go up and down the layers, managing the lengths, for example, of all of the clips and the nested clips. As far as I know, timeline has that limitation. So the management of the layers becomes almost as much work. Like it creates an overhead to have layers. And that is something that that's one of the things that I can't afford to really do. I can't really afford. I mean, man, maybe if we were starting this project from scratch today, it would be easy to do. Like, just to say, like, oh, you could always automate that. Like, man, I would have to rebuild my entire game story from scratch, I think, to do that. To make that something that we could do. Like, every timeline in the game right now would have to be... that would be such a gargantuan refactor to do that. That's, like, bigger than Scene Graph, in my opinion. To be able to build a timeline system that natively collapsed, because like the timeline definitions are all serialized. Like all of the lengths of all the clips live inside of the script, like the files. It's not something that you can traverse just like, it would be much better to resolve those at runtime than to edit them, to define them at editor time. But this is the problem to me, is that you're trying in this hypothetical, we're trying to use timeline as something that it's not designed to be, in my opinion, natively. Natively, when you give something a duration, like a clip with a duration, that duration is part of the definition of what the thing is. Like if it's an animation and the animation takes this long, you made that design decision to make it that long. So there's no reason for me to do that with abstract containers. There's no reason for them to have a length. And actually, Figma is a really good example of this. Like in Figma, you can define a container, like hug content is an actual thing. You can set a length, right? Or you can say just hug contents. And if this had something inside of it, it shrinks to the size of its container, of its contents. But it's not just that, right? It's not just that Unity timelines have durations in all the clips, and that the clips, I mean, it's so bad. What we just described has so many issues with it. Like, for example, if you have this and this and this in a track, and this collapses, what happens to this? Do this and this both go like that? Does this stay where it is? Like the sequencing it's a horrendous, it's such a minefield to treat a thing that has native durations as if it was just an array. Especially if it has layers. You know, this is one thing. Being able to say, oh, okay, here's my whatever, and this is just the third thing in the list, and now it's the fourth thing in the list, and it happens to be this much longer, and now it's like, that's fine. That's easy. It handles that because it's just a list. It's not a thing where each of these are distinctly defined as having start and end points. Because when you do that, now it's like, okay, I'm going to move this to here. What happens to these two things? Anyway, and my concern is, the whole point of this is that when I'm defining all of these things, the last thing that I know is how long they take. The absolute last thing. And some of these things, I don't know how long they take even at editor time. I don't know how long they take until the player is interacting with them. Like this thing, this dialogue clip, it kind of happens already in Insignia. Like when I use timeline for my sequence players, like I don't know how long a dialogue is going to sit on screen before the player presses A to continue. But I have to design all of the timelines with that in mind. I have to accept that, like, here, that this amount of time is, well, that this is going to be this long and not that long or that long. Like, I have to arbitrarily give them a length. But if this was something that contained other things, you're in a different world now. And I think with the scheduling system that I built a couple of weeks ago, what I immediately liked about it was that this question, it never happens. You never have that question of like, how long does this take? It's just a queue of things that are going to happen one after the other. The problem is that it's that my game is not set up to do either of these things well. That's the problem. You know what it is that this should probably be? Probably a graph that is like a series of nodes. Probably if I could build Insignia from scratch and I wasn't using Unity, I'd probably do some sort of graph system. And I know that timelines are graphs technically, but it wouldn't be a graph that had durations at the node level. Like, it would just be just a list of things that were connected to each other. This, and each of the things could have things inside of them. That's what I would do. And every time I wanted to do something that in timeline, doing that, I would have to create a new graph called a weight graph or something like that. And maybe there would be times where I would want things to happen in parallel and you would put timelines in the graph or something like that. But I think for a lot of, well, this is where it gets difficult. Is like, when do you have a timeline that goes into a graph, or when does a timeline have a graph in it? That's really all this question is. That's what this is boils down to. Is like which is the wrapper and which is the content. You know, is the dialogue a bunch of graphs? Dialogue. And that's given a name. And the player just goes through them. And then you have some animation at the end. I mean, you don't even need this one. You could just say it's a bunch of, this is all thing. And then, I mean, it happens even now. Like I might do like a, I think that's where I'm at. You can at all times do the runtime skipping or the authoring time automation. I don't know. Have you built that before? I don't think I can mentally estimate how that works. Maybe if we limited it to one layer per track, one track per timeline, maybe I would be open to it, but I couldn't give you an estimate for how long it would take me to build that. It could be 2 weeks, it could be 6 months. I have no idea. But unfortunately, we also don't have the resources to build something like this. If you were like, it's not about that. It's not about building the feature. It's about how to manage all the edge cases created by the feature. Like, yeah, I can skip to the end of a track, but what if there's like, the timeline comes with the promise that if I put this here and it's this long, and I put this here and it's this long, there's some relationship between these two based on the duration. If this pauses here, what happens to all of this stuff? How do I know when this is going to pause? If this is really just a container for something that happens at the player's pace, but this happens to be something that's like just managed, like a transition, a camera transition, for example, you create a scenario where this is unknowable. This camera fades out over this much time. This thing happens when the player presses continue and it stops here. Okay, but actually, we've authored it to be this long. So now, when does this happen in relation to this? Oh, actually at runtime, this happened here. Or what, we skip to the end? Like, there's too many, it's not obvious. This is how I feel. If you're going to build a tool for somebody, the tool should inform its use. And you should never be able to accidentally make something with a tool that the tool is not designed to manage. Like, if something is an array, you should only be able to treat it like an array. right? I don't have the ability to place this halfway between these two things. It doesn't let me, right? I can't overlap them because the only valid position is that it has an index that's an integer. I can't say, oh, this is halfway. So like the tool of list management here is well designed because it doesn't let me treat it in a way that it's not designed to work. The affordance and the model are one. Whereas trying to play around with timeline to make it do something that is distinctly not what timeline is designed to do, that concerns me. Because it gives you a lot of breathing room to make mistakes. Now, I don't like what I've got either. Like the thing that I built, this thing, reveal POI, I was very impressed that I built it a week ago. So happy. And it feels right. Like seeing this is now our graph, right? It's just a queue of things that are happening one after the other. It feels really honest. It feels like I can read it and I understand that there are exactly 6 things that happen and I know in which order these things happen. There are some things I lose with this, right? I don't get to visualize it. I can't scrub the thing and watch it happen. That'd be nice. If I don't name these very well, it's not great. But also each of these things needs to be its own like class, right? So like I have to actually like define a class with in and out behavior. And most of these classes are just like essentially just empty containers. They're just little stubs. So like, is this bad? So like the fact that I've got all these little internal classes just to create this little list of things. I mean, I don't think I could minify it any smaller without some sort of a thing. Or maybe I don't know. Like it's pretty good, you know, this thing. And what's great about this is that it's nestable. So it really is like one of those graphs. It's like the thing I was describing. Hey, Mario. So my concern is like, I have this thing that's powerful and I have this other thing that's powerful in a different way. And we agree we only want to use one. And I've got certain things in the game that aren't good for either. Nobody used it. I'm using it. It does what I want it to do. The equivalent of this, there's something I don't like about timeline, which is I can't define behavior with the timeline, right? That you need to, the question is like, what is this? All of these things, they've got like 2 or 3 custom functions inside of them. Like this set menu state. It's like, it's like a state that controls the open close. It's a state that knows how to open or close that menu. Now, I suppose I could make that a custom clip track or a custom clip, like open close menu, and then I would have to bind the world graph to it or something like that. I just don't know how to get, like, with timeline, what I always find is that I'm sort of like trying to do something and I'm sort of, I can't do, there's always a layer underneath what timeline can do that stops me when I'm trying to use it. Blurry? It might look blurry. I'm not sure why it does though, if it does. It might be like a CSS property on the box. I mean, I can read it, but yeah, there's something a bit off about it, isn't there? Like this stamp quest icon. Let's have a look. Like, see how like there's some very specific stuff here. Let's just look at the example, okay? Stamp quest icon. That's a little nugget that I don't, at this level here, at this abstraction layer, I don't know what that is other than the fact that I know that it stamps a quest icon. Okay, so a little quest icon is going to go bing onto a node. Okay, you pass a node into it, stamp a quest icon. Good. With timeline, what does that look like? Can I click into it to see how that works? Can I tune it up? Can I change it? Let's have a look. What are the things that this does? Okay, when we enter it, there's some reference that we need to get on entry. We're going to play something for 3 seconds. Actually, this is pretty easy to do. That could be a candidate. What about like move to map location? Like this one, we have to set up a tween. Okay, you could probably do something like that in timeline, sure. But like the positions that we're heading to and from, these are generated at runtime. Like I don't know where I'm going to or from in this. I don't even have references at editor time to where I'm going. They're not something I can hard code. They have to be resolved at runtime because then they're contextual. So these canvas positions, these locations we're trying to go between, for me right now in this scripting environment, it's very straightforward to say this class, this state needs a function that assigns a map node, which is going to be used to tell us where we're going to go in this little animation. And even though I can't see the animation, I know that it takes 1.5 seconds. I know it's on an ease in out curve. So like, I have a kind of comfort that I know it's going to do what it's supposed to do just from here. If I was looking at this on the timeline, I don't know even what I would be previewing. Like, I don't even know what I would be able to, what would I do? What would the authoring process look like to edit that on timeline? Maybe I would have stubs. I was thinking about this the other day, like maybe you would have like two transforms. Like, what is the thing? You have to like, what, design a lerp that doesn't have, I mean, I don't know what the After Effects pre-comp component composition of this node looks like on timeline. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't know what that looks like. Like a separate sub timeline that, I don't know. Hello. Hi, how's it going? Do you want to start chopping veggies?
Okay.
Are you upset at me?
No.
What's up? You want me to finish?
When are you finishing?
In a sec.
That's okay.
Couple minutes.
Start.
Yeah. Don't do it all by yourself. like, and I run up against this all the time. Like this thing of like, yeah, it's great that I can animate some of this stuff because this stuff is serialized in the scene, right? Like I can watch Armin run left and right across here because the start position of where he starts and the end position of where he ends are both encoded in this. But anything that's happening that doesn't have anything to resolve, there's nothing to bind because it doesn't exist yet. Making a clip out of it just feels, I can't do it. I don't know what that looks like. And there feels like a fair few set of things that are like that. It almost feels like but it's not just positions, Elzak. It's like anything. Like in the scripting space, it's like anything can I want anything to be able to happen. It's not just like take these two things and move them from one position to another. I would love to be able to just do a bunch of building blocks. If everything was as easy as just like the text right now, like I love timeline. I love being able to take this and go, oh, I put this here, you know, oh, wait a bit before taking this line of dialogue, or make this camera transition from here to here. Like this stuff's very practical. It's good. I just don't know if this can essentially be like a scripting interface for the game. I certainly don't want to make hundreds of custom clip tracks and clips. That sucks. We're so close, you know. This conversation's not a good one because we're already like, I have like one more thing to build.
This is all falling bad.
It's all what?
It's bad. It's gone.
It's gone bad?
Yeah.
It smells bad?
Yep.
Okay, chuck it.
It's sour and it's out of date.
All right. Could you close the door? It's just cold when you open it. Ultimately, like system-wise, we're like 99% done in this game. So the idea of rethinking the entire architecture of Insignia just so that we could do this thing a little bit easier is stupid. Like it's too late. We're done. You know? It's not worth it. What I was trying to do like an hour and a bit ago was come up with some sort of workflow for what I've got that makes the most sense going forward. Like right now, the system has all these things it can do. There's these things that we could do that we can't do, but I don't want to refactor them. There's all of these things that we could do, but really what I want to be able to do is just I want the game to be made of stuff that looks like this, just this. I don't want to do everything that we can possibly do with our tools because it's too complicated. And I don't want to do things that are beyond what our tools can do. I just want to find a way to use my own tools that I've already got to do what I need to do within the bounds of what I'm trying to do. If I can tell my story within this box, I don't actually care about making a new system at all. I don't want a new one. I don't even want to build the one I just built. But I had to build that one because the timeline version of that was just unwieldy. just wasn't, I don't know. Like, because ultimately what happens then, if you have just a bunch of like, and this is what I did. This is where I was at. If you take all of the things and you basically just make them stubs for functions, that's literally what I've got. That's the thing. The thing that I built last week does the thing that we're trying to talk about, which is like it can treat time. It takes any arbitrary thing that you want to do in the game and makes a clip out of it. That's exactly what this is. That's literally what I just built last week. The question is that we were trying to, what was proposed today is, are timelines things that can be those clips too? And the answer to that question is kinda, they can be. In my system right now, without sub-timelines, I could put a clip here that was called schedule track. And I could build a kind of, I could add a schedule clip that was a timeline director. And I could make the timeline director play inside of this moment so that it pauses here and resumes when the timeline's done. That's already possible inside of Insignia right now. It's really just a question of, should I, as the director or the chief engineer of this game, set a precedent where the root object of all of these things is a timeline, or is the root object whatever? We just figure it out as we go. When the root object is a timeline, you're kind of assuming that everything inside of it is happening without the player being able to do anything. That's the problem I have with timeline. Well, right now, it's not a problem. It's like a heuristic we've set. It's like a principle. Like when a timeline's playing outside of very specific circumstances, like a tutorial where you can do some action to resume the timeline, it's probably better to make timelines either side of gameplay. But I mean, maybe you could have a envelop. Well, this is the other thing. Timelines have like a play state. So like what you really want is like a timeline that ends with some condition, some playback, some player space, and then some other condition that triggers another timeline. The question is it valuable for us to draw that? If I have, this is really it, right? Like architecturally, this is timeline A, this is timeline B, this is some gameplay. In here, where I'm just describing what happens, one of these blocks is gameplay, right? This do the ensign challenge is gameplay. Does this deserve to have a box around it? And then all of this lives on a timeline? You can do that, but should you? That's what we're really talking about today. That's what I wanted. That's what I need to talk about. Is like, should I even think about that as a valid use case for how we do these things in Insignia? Is it important that I track this as a state like this? Like there's some object that's sitting here watching the gameplay and going, I wonder when the gameplay is going to be finished. I'm paused right now. I'm paused right now in this mid gameplay moment, and I'll continue when the gameplay's over. Like, is that even valuable? I mean, it gives us great visibility over what we expect to happen, but it also locks us into thinking about things in a very linear way. Because if we don't care about this, if we're not watching, then instead of this, what we have is just flag, flag. And this isn't even a thing. These are just two things that happen right? That's what I'm talking about. That's the thing that I'm sort of a bit, that's the thing that's got me stuck today, is like, at what point do you codify an asset out of a bunch of things that can happen? And what is that asset? Is it a timeline or is it something else? And at the bottom level, if I've just got like literally a line of dialogue that I want to play, is that worth creating a little thing around it, a clip, and then an asset timeline just for that one thing? Well, it's not overthinking. It's literally like the building blocks of how we're going to build the game. I mean, it's like, I'll continue building the content for the game. I mean, it's ultimately though, I mean, most of this is more about like how do I put this? I guess the question would be, looking forward, how many more things like this are we doing in the game? Hey, Darth Blackman. Thank you. Hey, Temet, you're not being productive in this conversation. Yeah, so if the question is like, well, actually, we just don't have any more moments like this. This is just like, this ability unlock is the most complicated thing that's going to happen in Insignia. I'll just hack something together. You know? But I can see like in Zelda, there are a lot of timeline / sequence scheduled moments, more than you would think, you know. And I wonder if I'm underestimating how many more moments like this there are going to be. I don't know. Oh, this is more of a hypothetical. This thing I was talking about with gameplay, it's just the most obvious example of what I'm talking about. This thing is not, I'm not really saying I will do that, but it happens once. It happens once in the guard tutorial. It's just like, for the sake of describing to you guys the challenge that I'm facing, I'm having to use the most obvious examples so that you don't get confused. It's this here. This has gameplay inside of it. Here, and here, the game pauses. The timeline pauses, but doesn't stop. It pauses for you to do stuff. And then when you happen to do stuff, it resumes. But it's in a very controlled environment because you can't leave the scene. It's also like designed as, it's like, such a controlled sequence of things that can happen. Like, you can only do the thing that lets the gameplay proceed and the timeline continue. With this stuff, it's like, I think that I'm going to create a new rule, new kind of heuristic. I think the rule is that things that can do things don't control how they're scheduled. Anything that that can literally do something like an animation, a thing that plays an animation, never has a reference to any other thing. Like, it's basically just encapsulation, better encapsulation. Like, because right now, the problem that I had was something like this before. It was like the Crucible had the timeline, the ability unlock modal. Like the Crucible like owned it. So like I couldn't invoke this unless you interacted with that. And then later I had like a teleporter, and the teleporter had to reference directly this in order to do its job. And for me, I think this whole thing it's not right. It should be that this thing does a thing, this thing does a thing, this thing does a thing. And there should be some sort of, if something needs to happen across these or sequencing them, that has to live like this. It accesses them. It reaches down into them. Anyway, I gotta go. Thanks, everybody. Sorry I made this so... it's so hard. I have to find a better way in the future of like Insignia or like Indie Tales. I have to find a better way for you guys to be able to like watch the context. Like I have to like have a clip that you can watch where it describes what the current problem is that we're trying to solve. Because it's so, we're in like the most abstract, complex, specific, like it's so context dependent, but also it covers such a broad area of the game. It's just so hard to have a functional stream when the like operating memory of chat is like 3 things I say, you know? It's just, I'm trying to tackle really complex stuff and move really quickly through them. It's just, we get stuck, you know? I'm not sure what the solution is, but I gotta leave for today. Let's find someone to raid and get out of here. Microraptor. They got offensive humor. Let's go somewhere else. That's 18 plus. Let's go somewhere else. Hypnotic Games. Thank you, pals. Please wishlist Insignia. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll see you all tomorrow. We might do archaeology stuff. I'm not sure where I'll be at then. I'll have to see what the client wants to do, but I'm not sure. Okie dokie. Thank you so much for checking out the stream today. I had fun. I hope you did too. As always, I've been Adam. You've been the Pixel Pals. This has been the Indie Tales Game Dev live stream. Until next time. Bye-bye.